Beep, 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 beep.
Here we are.
Maybe
Again.
I shouldn't do that noise when you're about to start.
What noise?
That beep thing.
Why? Because it's racist. It's racist to beeps. I knew you would like that joke. It's probably the worst joke I've ever said in my life.
Just 'cause it's absurd, isn't it?
So welcome to the podcast with my girlfriend.
Here I am.
That's my girlfriend over there,
Beep.
wagging her tongue,
Beep, 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 beep.
lashing her tongue. That sounds a little
No, that sounds a bit graphic.
suggestive. In this show, I basically just talk to my girlfriend, who is of a lesser mic quality of myself, so you get to listen to.
Yeah, good. I saw you were considering what to say there, weren't you?
I was going to say small brain, I knew it would annoy you.
You went for the correct option.
Yeah, and but I also thought like listeners might think, did he just say a woman's got a small brain?
My God.
Yeah. I was like,
he's saying women have a smaller brain.
yeah, so I thought I'd back out of that. 'Cause sometimes when people don't quite get your humour, they think you're being serious.
Oh, you are sexist, love.
Anyway,
Sexist and racist.
Anyway, not racist.
You said you were racist to beeps.
Do you know? I said you was racist to beeps by saying that.
Not me.
Do you know the technique? You know the Rome scammers. The worst technique they use is
them.
when they call you racist. That's the only one that broke me.
Yeah.
Because they shouted it as well.
If you don't buy my bracelet, that means it's because you're racist.
They shouted. So basically, he threw the bracelet at my back.
Oh God.
And then I ignored it, and then he went, "Oh, you're not picking it up because you're racist." And everybody looked round at me, and I was like, "Oh, please don't." I mean, any technique: tie my shoelaces together, steal my wallet. I even don't have a wallet, so good luck trying to find my wallet. The only thing you're gonna find in my trousers is probably tissue. I always have lots of tissue in my pockets, like an old man, like ripped up.
Yeah, I always find them in the wash.
Well, that's your fault for not.
I'm not going through your pockets.
Not rifling from your pockets.
I'm not your mother.
Well, I think you should, because then it would stop the plumage of the.
I refuse.
Of the tissue.
Check your pockets before you put them in the washing basket, love.
Anyway, can I fucking talk about Berlin? I've been wanting to talk about Berlin for about 10 podcasts, to the point where I forgot why I even want to talk about.
Well, maybe you should have brought it up then, love.
So we went traveling to Berlin March.
Correct.
And the reason why we went, it was just a little city break, is because I think it's nice to have a little vacation to start the year. I think the best vacations are Christmas. Yeah. Because
I am liking our little thing of going away at Christmas.
We're not going away at Christmas here now, are we?
Well, we're going away in
end of November.
So.
Well, that's not really Christmas, no, is it?
But we're considering taking a small Christmas break.
We are, but it might be a bit.
It looks like it might not be happening, but
might be a bit snobby.
We're going on a January break. That's close enough.
I think we're getting to the point where we are getting a little bit too middle class. Like, soon we're going to be eating kale pizzas. Soon we're going to be.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying the other day. We've got a lifestyle creep.
Lifestyle what?
We've got lifestyle creep. Well, actually, I meant
What's
to say
lifestyle
it, but I don't
creep?
think I ever got around to fully saying
you
it.
millennials and your new.
Yeah, I was saying we're getting used to having more money, so we're getting used to spending more money.
We don't talk about that on.
They don't need to know. Okay, fine.
Is frugal the word?
No.
No, it's not, is it? That's the opposite, isn't it?
I don't know. Rude.
just plain rude.
Just plain rude.
So yeah, we went to Berlin in March, and I'm one of those people where I want to go to every single place ever, what's ever existed.
That's
like
right.
if you say, I have places where I'd rather go over other places, so I'm more interested in Asia than going to the States, because it's Asia.
Poor America.
I want to go to the States. I want to go to everywhere in the States.
Yeah, like every single state.
I want to go to every single state, but I'm just saying, if I had to choose, I'd rather go to Asia, because I find it so fascinating. So with Europe, we're kind of lucky, because you didn't realize how lucky we are. There's so many different places we can go to in Europe. So many different places.
And it's pretty cheap from
how many European countries are there? Is it 40?
I'm not sure, love, but it's a real lot.
Because if you...
And you can go for about 150 per person for a few days.
Yeah,
break.
So we're very lucky for living in the UK, because
you can...
Yeah, I mean, all in you're looking at about 500.
We're also lucky that we've got a flexible schedule, so we can take advantage of last minute offers.
So I'm just looking here. There's 50 European countries.
Well, I never.
And they'll all be different.
Yeah.
And most of them have their own language as well as a language. They have a little something, don't they?
Yeah.
Like even if you go to Spain, you've got Catalan, which is a slight twist.
That's right.
I'm sure there's even some places that still speak Latin.
No.
I think so. not as like day to day life.
I thought Latin was just dead.
Yeah, it is their language. But I mean like they incorporate some like words into their language.
Well, closest is the Italian, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. So I'm fascinated going anywhere. I'll go anywhere. And German culture has always been fascinating to me because. So there's we're not going to beat around the bush now. There's the fact they tried to take over the world.
That happened.
And I will say, I'll jump ahead a little bit. Spoiler alert that how Berlin.
Spoiler alert. Well, we'll see.
How Berlin handles World War II and what their ancestors did, I think it's fascinating. I think they're exactly on the right lines because they're not covering it up.
It's very different to what I thought. I thought it would be like, oh, taboo, like don't talk about it. Like if it was England, do you know what I mean? Nobody's talking about that shit.
So I've always
but
been.
You can go to Berlin and you can go on Hitler walking tour.
So we know
like
about we know about the World War, and I'm a big war aficionado. So I was extremely excited to be in these cultural places. We obviously know synonymous with Germany is their efficiency of making things and their almost Japanese like style to work, which is a lot different from the English. Now the English are more stiff upper lip and I do say, and the English do have that.
Yeah,
they do believe in hard work, but it's a little bit more different.
I don't think we really believe in hard work anymore though.
Because the famous thing with mine and Sophia's life is when we were doing the quiz in Corfu, and we were to be fair, we were about to get our plane, we were about to get a taxi to the airport, and we weren't. It was raining, and it was kind of cars were getting like rained off the road. It was that serious, like mudslides and stuff, and a tree. So we were trying to work out if we were actually going to get to the airport, and we got offered to do a quiz, and
one of those like if you're in a hotel and they pass it round.
We couldn't
like a little pub quiz sort of
thing. We couldn't really say no because we felt sorry for the person because obviously they're just doing their job to entertain tourists, and you can tell they don't really want to do it for a job. So they gave us a piece of paper, and one of the pictures, what you had to guess, was Volkswagen. Yeah. But we guessed WordPress. Well, I guessed WordPress, and the Germans looked at us like, "You silly English. You do not know Volkswagen." And so
not sure what that accent is, but
I think that's quite German, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's French.
Yeah,
more French. Isn't
more
it? When I think of like snobber, I always think of like a Parisian guy, just a Parisian guy walking down.
Even though Aaron does love a bit of that.
Oh no, I love it. I'm not dissing.
It's not a diss.
That's what I want in life.
Just letting you know, it's Aaron aspires to be that guy. You wish we were from Paris, love.
So I do like that German mentality. I think there is something because the thing is if you look at German humour is really interesting because it's so on the nose. German humour is, I'm telling you the joke, and that's what's funny. They don't wrap it up in anything. There's no surprise. German humour is. Remember we watched that really weird documentary that woman couldn't flush the toilet.
Oh god.
And instead of like they actually showed everything.
Yeah.
So I find that fascinating. I also
the language is fascinating as well.
The language is fascinating. I also find the culture of the beer drinking and the food and the cuisine.
It's quite funny because if you're there quite serious, you wouldn't really think they would be into drinking.
But it's interesting because England we're obviously known for drinking as well.
Awful.
But we don't actually. There isn't any traditional value to it, is there?
No, it's just gross.
It's just Well, it's not. It's just
trashy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I do like the outfits and the dancing, and there is something in whatever culture you hail from. I think you should keep.
Yeah.
I think you keep that because I think
at least they've got a bit more culture to it.
Nobody does Christmas quite like Germany. Nobody does like the architect. It's just something like the big beers and So that's what the sort of information we knew, and obviously I'm a big football fan, so I've always been interested in German football. But the thing with German football is a bit of a 2-horse race or a 1-horse race, so it's a bit like in Spain you have in La Liga you have 3 teams in it. In Germany there's only really one.
Oh really?
Munich. I mean Dortmund can have a little go, but they don't ever seem to really do it.
Poor Dortmund, I thought they were quite good.
But I've always been fascinated with German teams, the atmosphere. So there's a lot about Germany, and I'm obviously missing a lot. There's a lot about Germany what I've always been excited about, and I've always really wanted to go to Munich over Berlin, but I've always been recommended Berlin just for the history, and the flight is fast. Like it's one of those flights where you're in the air, and then as soon as you've got your drink, even though I didn't order a drink, but I mean, as soon as you're about to order a drink,
then it starts going down again.
You're down, and then when you get there is a cleanness. It's so clean, so clean, isn't it? And there's just an efficiency there, and there is this. So when we got on the train, you're supposed to you put your ticket into a thing, and it codes the thing, doesn't it? So you get your ticket for the train from the machine, then you have to put it in a time, like a I don't know what you call it,
to stamp it,
and so we didn't do it, and the guy let us off. And I think there's this thing that Germany is a place where it's they're a little bit rough to people, but they're not.
No,
like I found every single person there lovely.
Yeah, that's true,
and very welcoming. And I think there's this thing that Germans are a little bit
like intimidating.
A bit intimidating, but they're not. There's this guy completely let us off. Now, the way he said it was a little intimidating. He didn't wrap it up.
It's just like
he's like
you have done it wrong.
He's like, you've done it wrong. You will, if you don't do it properly, you will face fine.
You will get £1,000 fine.
Yeah, but
euros.
Whereas an English person would be like, oh, I'm really sorry to say, but and I kind of think that attitude's better. No.
Yeah, I do have an appreciation for it.
So we get off the train, and already we got off in like a platform, but it's like a shopping centre as well, and it's platform after platform of shops and all these cool places, and I thought that was really cool. I think Berlin, out of every city I've been to in the world, this is a bold statement, does architecture and design the best, because you have these really cool, like you have that modern tower with the radio tower, and then you have these really like modern chic, almost Japanese in a way, shopping centres. And then you have the old Berlin. So I think it really is a city of two.
I don't know.
No?
I found the architecture quite bleak.
Like a bit dystopian.
Yeah.
I think you can lean into that. I liked it.
I would prefer to visually look at Paris.
But of course,
do you know what I mean?
I think Paris is the most beautiful city ever, but I think Berlin is the most fascinating because you have the Berlin Wall still there. There's and next to these skyscrapers, and then next to the and I just find that the old and the new, I find it really, in fact, really, really fascinating to look at. So we get off the train, and we're walking to the hotel, but we just decide to take our time.
A little peruse.
We see a really nice building. I think it actually might be like some sort of government building.
Oh it is.
Yeah, that like really, because the thing in London, it's like everything's behind walls. This was just like there.
It was like in a park.
It was like in a park, and everything is just. Yeah, I mean, it's just big. It's just like a big spectacle. I'm getting ink all over my hands. It's like I'm back at school. I don't think I've ever I've never held one of these pens in my hand, these Viro pens, without getting ink all over my hands.
Without getting ink on you.
And then we're going to the park, and this is where I got my first taste of Berlin. Where I was like, okay, this is interesting, because when we started walking, and the thing you always have at the back of your head is this is where the Nazis were. This is where Hitler was. This was the stronghold. You can't not have it in the back of your head. And you start walking, and you start seeing information about it straight away. So you realise
it's like right up in your face.
They're not hiding the information, and you're reading.
Yeah, it's like all along the path. It was like, oh, these some pictures of some innocent families that were killed, and it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, but so you then think, is this a place to go for fun? No.
Which, because I was expecting to go there for fun, because I had actually heard a lot of people were moving there. There was like a big young people scene, hipster stuff, cafes, all like vegan stuff. Not that I'm a vegan, but it's just like interesting.
But is that interesting though?
I find it quite interesting, like a multicultural sort of place. But
isn't that all cities
really
now? I feel like most cities are. I feel like most cities have got that scene now.
I guess.
So
But,
you were there to see that. I was there to learn, basically. I think that's why we had different experience on this trip. Because spoiler alert, Sophie didn't have the best time, but I really enjoyed this place.
But you can't avoid the learning. That's what makes this everywhere.
But that's what I mean. But that's beautiful because further into the park they have this this like booth, and you can look through the plinth glass and you can see how sexuality has advanced, and it's these people kissing through all the ages, and it gets to just like a man kissing, a woman kissing, and I think Berlin is so open about their sexuality and so open about where they've come from and where they've gone, and they're so proud of it.
Yeah.
From being segregated and then all the way to
it's just mental, like the difference between their attitude and UK attitude.
But have you ever seen an attitude like that? So that's why I was instantly just
like, UK will never admit they've done anything wrong. Do you know what I mean?
I just felt at peace straight away because I just felt like I could think whatever I wanted to think, and like they're selling Nazi memorabilia about
on the streets,
but
outside the museum.
But that's why you're going. You're going because you have a fascination for this stuff, and you want to. I mean, I was so tempted to buy one of those newspapers.
Yeah.
What was during? But then I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to explain this if I'm going through English. You know what I mean? I don't know how I'm going to explain this to people why I've got this.
Curiosity, isn't it?
It is curiosity, but then it's like you know what I mean? It just feels a bit. Because I bought a German pipe, and then I was really worried that it used
to belong to a Nazi.
Have I actually bought a Nazi pipe? But I don't think it does actually. I keep saying the joke that it does, but I don't think it is actually.
It's just a pipe.
It's just a pipe, but it was sold next to Nazi memorabilia. That was why I thought it might be.
Yeah. The thing is, right, I didn't do history at school. Okay, it was optional.
No.
So I'm very ignorant about all this stuff. So you were pointing out stuff that was Nazi memorabilia, and I was like, huh, what's this? Like all this.
Sophia would pick up a swastika, and then.
Not obviously, I'm not that stupid, but like all those cartoons and stuff, I was like, huh, what's this? And you were like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Then this is the beauty of Berlin. Like we stopped and got the what's the sausage? The famous sausage called
Currywurst.
What?
Currywurst.
Currywurst. That's it. Which are decent, but I don't think Germany's that known for its.
It was okay.
We'll talk about the cuisine in a bit because I actually think Germany actually do have a decent cuisine. But we got a beer. It was a little cold, so it's not the most full. But then we're walking about, and there's like little stores selling things, and there's more architecture, and there's more normal shops. Then we stayed in some pods
in a novelty hotel.
In a novelty hotel, which. On the outside, the elevator, the
looks sketchy as fuck.
Well, not the elevator, the escalator.
Escalator.
Didn't work, and it was covering like leaves and dirt. And there's like an alien in the window. It's basically this futuristic space hotel, and you stay in these little pods. I actually really enjoyed them. Sophia again. I think the novelty wore a bit feeling.
It did because.
It's really interesting when somebody's like, I really enjoyed this, and then somebody else is like, I'm not really into this.
Well, the thing was. Because there was times when you were asleep and I couldn't sleep, and I would have liked to go for a little walk, but because there was only one key and the key controlled the airflow into the pod,
I might suffocate.
I couldn't leave you there without leaving the pod open, which is obviously not very safe. So it's like
I think it'd be fine.
I mean, yeah,
I think when you sign up to these places, I think there's an agreement between all people. Like if you notice at hostels, it's very rare there's any crime or anything in hostels, because I think there's a.
I could have just left the door open for some ventilation, but it was just a bit like.
It is basically a hostel.
And it was It was a hostel.
It's a hostel
because it was like a communal bathroom and stuff, which I'm not fussed about that.
No, it's a communal bathroom where you each get your own cubicle.
Yeah, so yeah.
But I mean that in a sense, like it's really nicely divided.
Yeah,
I know you get your own bathroom, but I'm saying it's not like all going into like one shower.
No,
which is nice.
Yeah,
I accidentally walked in on the guy who left the door. Most of his own fault.
It was alright. But it was just like, yeah, if the other person's sleeping, you're a bit fucked.
Anyway, we go out walking, and I think did we go walking the first day?
Yeah, I think we walked for like 5 hours, some shit.
Now, the pictures I took of Berlin. I don't know if I'm gonna put on my website. I feel like all of them. I took loads. I just think it is just extraordinary. The Checkpoint Charlie place. It just looks. Cause we started walking really early in the morning. Cause we went to bed quite early and we woke up quite early.
Yeah.
And Checkpoint Charlie just looks amazing when it's open. And I just think aesthetically, Berlin, if you're a photographer or if you're into photography, I think it just looks incredible. I like the lights and the big single roads and the museums and the marble floor and these little 7-Elevens, and I think they all just look. I think the aesthetic of the place just looks insane. Do you not?
I don't know. I find it again very intimidating, scary.
So would you say you prefer the Rome aesthetic?
Oh God, yeah. I want something romantic. Do you know what I mean? I want
the problem with
ancient architecture and stuff like that.
The problem with the good thing with Berlin is there's no real touts.
No, there isn't.
You're not getting bugged, so you can freely walk around. Where in Rome, it's very much you can't really get to the sites because they're so overpopulated, and here because it's so open, so much space, you can freely walk around. I don't know what it's like in the summer, but you can freely walk around with very little interference.
Nobody's bothering you. Yeah.
But it's one of those things. So I'm gonna.
I can't imagine Germans wouldn't put up with that shit.
I bought a graphic novel. And I'm just gonna. It's called Berlin by Jason Lutez. I think that's his name.
I would say Lutz, but
Lutz.
I don't know.
Jason Lutz.
I don't speak German, so
it's the best graphic novel I've ever read. It's an extraordinary piece of work. It's about the Nazis coming into power, and but it's not actually about anything to do with war. It's about people living within Germany, dealing with their sexuality, dealing with the art scene, dealing with day-to-day life, dealing with having dreams as a young boy who dreams of being like Houdini.
Cool.
It is one of the most extraordinary works, and it takes you to a point. It shows you all what Berlin's been through, every single moment of their history, from the Berlin Wall, everything, and it finishes you with a real picture of the city as now, and it's kind of hair raising. And when you read that comic and you graphic novel, and you think back to Berlin. It's what you walked in. Like that comic is so prevalent to
like you've been a part of history.
No, I mean just like, so I'm a big. This is the city of artists because it's. I'm saying it's going to beat Paris soon if Paris isn't careful, because I felt completely at home there. I felt. I've never there's so many books and culture. I was just consuming so much, and then this graphic novel is absolutely fascinating. So I would say if you are going to Berlin, you have to understand it's going to be a cultural thing, and I think you have to get yourself ingrained. So we went to a museum. It was called Hitler's Bunker, but I don't know
Hitler's Secret Bunker or something.
Secret Bunker. I think it's the best museum I've ever been to in my life because
it was very extensive.
It was extensive. It was only like €20 each.
Yeah.
And we literally had to start running it in the end because I needed the toilet so badly. So it was like, it's probably.
I thought it was going to be like 4 rooms, but it was like.
But I think
20 rooms.
What I saw the beautiful thing, I think you were discovering all this for the first time. And
yeah.
I think that was really interesting to watch because so I instantly got hooked as soon as I went in because you listen through the headphones, and I got hooked instantly because the first ever room was about how many different adaptations of Hitler there are. Hitler versus Shark, Hitler versus... There's all these film posters. And I found that fascinating. And then you start to journey through Hitler's life. I just wanted to read everything. I was just so absorbed because I just felt a part of this. And then you go to the bit where the smashing of the plates, where there's all the glass over the floor, and they really bring it to life. Like you're in this bunker. It's not actually Hitler's bunker, but it's like it is a bunker what was used. And you're in it, so you know there's history in this place, and they've turned it into this expedition. And I would honestly just say to spend a day there. Just go to the bathroom before.
You could actually spend a whole entire day there. It
is extra. I've never, and it's told. So sometimes history can be boring, like documentaries can be boring. The way they tell it can be, but this is just keeps you animated, and people are respectful in there, and it's heartbreaking. It's intriguing. It's like I'm getting emotional. I think about it. It's the best museum I've ever been to. Because museums are usually just you go through a metal detector, you look through a case at some old thing. It's got a little sign on it. You can maybe hire a tour guide, but talks a bit too much. This is just the best museum I've ever been into. We tried to get into a library. Oh yeah, at the end of the museum they have this absolutely fascinating bookshop where you can actually get all of. They've documented every single day of Hitler, which I really want. It's like €100, or maybe even €200.
Something like that.
And it's like 5 massive books. Like
everything that he was doing at all times.
I just became obsessed. It just like got that itch, and I found Hans Wilder, the great writer. I learned in Berlin, Small Circus, which I actually prefer. I started with Small Circus, and I was reading Little Dorrit. I took Little Dorrit with me, which is too big a book to travel with when you're only allowed a little hand luggage. And I started reading Small Circus, and I just couldn't put it down. It's just it's that sort. It's sort of writing where this is a bit like the Berlin graphic novel. They don't actually try and they're setting you into a world. I always love that sort of writing. It's not really a story. It's just like a world. So we tried to get into a big library, but we didn't really have time to get in. But this beautiful marble library.
That was nice.
Where the sort of students hang out. What else did we do? We saw this thing we could go up in a hot air balloon. We didn't do it. You could rent these cars, which I think would have been cool. But
yeah, that would have been cool.
We're on a bit of a budget, but you could rent these cars where you sort of drove around.
Yeah, it's like a convoy.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
A little tour.
Then we checked out more of the central city where the sort of businesses are. You see like the Alpine car. And you see the businessmen. Sophia's like, how did you? I didn't remember any of this sort of stuff.
What's an Alpine car?
It's the famous car they made. Then you see the businessmen finishing for lunch and getting their beers and stuff. It's also one of those cities where you find a lot of the German speakers actually speak English as well. Like they all speak English there, obviously, but I mean they speak in English. A bit like a bit like in Amsterdam, because I was listening to these men speaking and I thought, they're English, but there wasn't, because they could speak fluent German. So they're either come over here and they're actually just businessmen. Yeah, but I don't think they were, because they had the size, because German men are big, and they had the size. They had these brilliant pink pipes. I took some pictures of them, like these what go through the city.
Oh yeah,
I think that
was like an art installation.
But I don't think you realise. I don't think you appreciate. I don't think you realise how hard it is to make a city look good, because if you think of Doncaster, the best thing they could come up with was these like silver, like minor twisted metal things, like these pink pipes just cutting through the trees and everything. It really is just an extraordinary looking place, and if you can find the picture I took, they're just incredible. So we went out we had some pastries.
That's right.
German coffee's so good. I went to a cafe called Einstein.
Oh yeah.
We had to go there. That was the coffee
Checkpoint Charlie.
Coffee was near Checkpoint Charlie, and they sold some really interesting memorabilia. What I really wanted. There's like all the men were just like looking at these like these Russian hats and.
They had all that
like
Soviet Union stuff.
Yeah,
like
Soviet Union stuff. I was like, I really want to buy that, but I was like, I know I can't, because not only is it waste of money, but it's like, what am I ever going to do with that? And then so the cuisine, there's a lot of pastries. There was a shop what sold sort of like a sugarcane drink, which was really nice.
Oh yeah,
you remember that?
I do remember that.
We went into the German version of Lidl's, and it's better than ours.
Well, they made Lidl's, didn't they? So.
Like they have like big bags of grapes. Like over here, we just get like
it's hard to find the grapes.
Like these little plastic cups almost of grapes. You get these like big tissue paper bags. I enjoyed that. Then we actually went for the German meal. Now I would say the German meal was bloody good.
It was actually. It was like just like a plate of meat.
It was just a plate of meat. It had stuffing, like a stuffing bowl.
Oh yeah,
which was really nice. And
meatballs and stuff.
It was. Really, I'll give you that, because I'm not really one.
I just twist your arms to go out for a sit down meal.
I'm not really one to spend a lot on a big meal. We spent quite a lot on it, but it was. I had my first what they call the beers, the Steins.
Oh yeah.
I had the first big beer.
It was enormous.
I took a picture holding it with two hands, and then I saw a comment on the gym website saying anybody holds it with two hands is an idiot.
Oh,
so
no. It's big enough to hold it with two hands though.
Yeah. Well, no, I
think my wrist could handle that.
I two-handed it to get the...
Wasn't that about 2 litres?
Yeah. It
was 2 litres.
Yeah, I felt it the next day. but the thing is, the beer is so good, you drink it so well. It's not like English beer.
It
English
was actually
beer,
quite nice.
English beer is like rough.
Yeah.
It's like I could drink German beer is better. I could drink German beer all day. It's just so smooth. It's like hops. You can just taste hops. It's just like
it was smooth.
We can taste the wheat. It's almost like a wheat beer, isn't it?
I wouldn't know enough to go into
so I'd
detail.
recommend that. I would say that there's a lot of like Germany's not really known for the cuisine, is it? But I'd say this plate of meat is definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think there's more to discover on German cuisine.
Yeah, I say it's underrated, underappreciated cuisine. Then,
but it was hard to find somewhere serving traditional dishes. So it is so multicultural.
We did all that, and then we decided we need to do something big. And I've always wanted to go to look around the concentration camp, so we went to Sachsenhausen.
It's one of those things you have to do in your life, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but I think we should do the main one.
Yeah.
Auschwitz. I think we should do that eventually in life. 'Cause I think we all have to. I think anybody who was. Well, all countries fought in the war, but I think, especially, I think the Brits in particular have a real thing about the war. Because most of our grandparents, well,
I think as a country we're quite proud of our input.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
We're nearly on Poppy Day as we record this, and
we take it Poppy Day. Is that what we call it around here?
Well, that's the nickname of it, isn't it? It's
Remembrance Day.
Yeah, Remembrance Day.
I've just never heard anyone call it that.
Yeah, we used to call it Poppy Day at school. We take it very seriously to the point where if you don't take it seriously, we're offended. Because when I used to work at the airport.
It's like if you're not wearing a poppy, people are like, "Why aren't you wearing?"
Not
one?
even that. If you don't do if you don't.
Oh God, yeah.
If you don't show respect,
you can't not do the minute silence.
It is putting pineapple on pizza for Italians because when I used to work at the airport, I was just working for it. I was cleaning the cooker out, and everything stopped. And I knew it was that day, but I forgot what was happening.
Yeah.
I was busy, and then I walked out of the fast food place and. All the staff had left their things so they could see each other. So you work independently in your thing. And there was all. When I used to work at the subway, it was just like I work independently. And I stood. And then when I walked out, and the English person was looking at me annoyed because like you need to be out here.
Can't be walking around.
You need to be out here faster to stand. So I stood. Because obviously I can't go back in now.
No.
And there were Polish and Romanian people who were trying to get things. And the Brits were getting very pissed with them to the point where it's very rare to see Brits get pissed. And
we don't take a lot of things that seriously, do we?
No, and then they literally ushered them to go sit down where people sat down, and that's sort of how seriously we take it. So there is a thing where, like how American Jewish people have to go to sort of Israel because they feel it's like a rite of passage. I feel like as an English, our rite of passage, we sort of do have to go to these concentration camps, even though there isn't the number of Jewish English is, I think, quite low, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or it might be higher than we think. I'm not sure, but I think there's
compared to America, I think they've got a lot bigger Jewish population over there, isn't it?
It's a bit like the Americans going to Vietnam. I think there is something where when the English go to Germany, we have to sort of. Or Poland or whatever, we have to sort of do these things. So it feels, I think, a little wrong not to go do them. However, they're extremely tough and hard. So we decided to book an actual real tour. And it was probably the best tour I've ever done in my life. It was by a lady who was Spanish, I believe, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And she was one of those people who are extremely passionate on it, not in an annoying way. It's sort of a passion where, like the real deal passion. Like when people become so passionate about this sort of stuff, it's because they're using it as a way to show you. They're not explaining history to you. They're explaining you to you.
Explaining like human nature.
Human nature. So we went on the Sachsenhausen tour, and it is obviously devastating.
That's right.
To the point of being a little too much. So I think we could talk on that and the fact that. It's when it was over, we sort of just plunged into silence. And I think for you, that's where the trip finished, and it went down for you. Like,
I don't know, you can't come back from that, really, can you? You can't go out the next day and be like, "Oh right, let's enjoy Berlin." It's just like, no.
Yeah. So what would you what would be the advice? Would you say even go?
I would say to go, but maybe just don't even do anything the next day. Just think about things.
I think there is no coping mechanism for it.
Depends how emotionally regulated you are.
Because I went into a complete stunt of silence. That's how I was going to do it. I needed to think it over, because you see, when I went into the camp, I was starving. And like I was at, so let me just explain this, guy. I was at the, so I decided to not mention this on any of my social media that I was going, because I think right, people deal with this thing differently. So I think there is an argument to be made that by exposing the camp, you're bringing awareness to it.
Yeah.
But I'm the opposite. I think you should go and pay your respects and not have it about you, because it's not about you. It's about the history you've come from.
You can't exactly post it on Instagram like, oh look.
So I decided that I'm going to take no pictures, even though you were allowed to take pictures. But I'm deciding I'm not going to take any pictures. I decided that I'm going to be extremely respectful and watch where I walk. I'm going to decide that I'm going to be extremely positive when I'm in there, and not, I'm going to go in. What's the word I'm trying to explain? I'm going to go in. Like how you visit a grave and you bring flowers. I'm going to go in with that attitude. You know what I mean? So I was extremely starving, and there are places where you can eat and there are people eating. And I had
didn't feel quite right, did it?
I had some Percy pigs from Marks and Spencer's, and I'm just eating them, but it
didn't feel right, did it?
It didn't feel right, but it's like I had to have a few. I only had like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because it's it's just so weird eating in a place of so much pain, and it's so weird. Like every step I took, the step felt heavy, and I think I'm more conscious than most as well. So I was really feeling it, and you just, and obviously the tour operator is giving you such a flavor of everything what's happening, and how horrible it was, and
that feels a bit dumb complaining about you're hungry for your lunch when people were starving.
You're told about how when the Jews got off the transport, the Nazis were sitting on the lawn with a record playing, and these people are literally being marched to death. And then when you hit the place where the Jews were exterminated, it's just the most ruthless feeling you'll ever feel, really. Like as Sophia, you can tell from the audio now. I've been trying my best not to describe it, if you know what I mean, because obviously we need to talk about this, but I've been trying my best to sort of circle around it. But I think you can sort of hear by the emotion of how impactful it was. But you go into these chambers where people were killed, and it's this is Sophia's crying now. This is very good for ratings now. This can be the you go on a YouTube video and it's like the most watched bit. This can be it. All right, so we get off this topic. You get the idea, guys. So we went back into Germany, and we looked at the Berlin Wall. So some more impressions.
Not much better, really, is it? Well,
I think that's what we're trying to get at.
Oh, jeez.
I think we went to go look at the Berlin Wall, and the Berlin Wall is another fascinating piece of history, and it kind of looks interesting in the it was a cold day, so it looked interesting in sort of the mist and the cold, and but then I think we got a bit tired, and it was time to.
It was 100% time to go.
It was time to go. So,
but then when you're like, your flight's not till like 6 p.m. or something, you're just fucking waiting, like wandering around aimlessly, and it's.
So I think what we need to do, we need to go back to like Munich or Frankfurt or Frankfurt, yeah. We need to go to one of those places and just, maybe do the typical English thing and actually do go on Oktoberfest or something like that. I think we need to experience.
Yeah, because what we experienced wasn't really a lot of actually what it is to be Germany. Do you know what I mean? I
think when we went to Sachsenhausen, we actually did go into. It's interesting that Netto is very popular over there. We did actually go to like an authentic German town, which again are extremely clean, and the houses are very nice. and we saw lots of like German families, which are interesting. So you can see the sort of style they wore, and which is cool. And I would say this is the most interesting thing. So just talking about the humor quickly. A lot of the families were joking about each other. So there is a stereotype that the Germans don't have humor, but as in most cultures, some stereotypes aren't really true.
That's right.
I found a massive bookshop on the last day, which is incredible. It housed every single book in the world. Also, German. I don't have much censorship on films. I'm a big fan of countries that have much censorship on films, so you could get a lot of like Tinto Brass films. Obviously, Tinto Brass, misogynistic a little bit, but just a little. But his work is still fascinating. The same. They have one of those cultures what don't have. They don't censor the sort of films you could buy, and I kind of like that a lot. Like
it's up to the individual what you want to watch in it.
Yeah, but no, I do think there is some intellectual value in sexual films, really. Yeah, this library was extraordinary. It was like 5 floors. You could get everything, from music books to guitars to there was even a little koi pond with a cafe de koi pond with fish and extraordinary place. And I came back with enough book ideas and book reads to last me a lifetime, really. I'm basically going to work from Hans Fallada, and then I've got to go on to information about the Berlin Wall and that sort of stuff. I'm going to be going into that next, but I just haven't got around to it yet. And then I've obviously been reading a bit about Berlin culture. That's also fascinating, like Salon Kitty, these brothels, what hosted Nazi parties, also very fascinating. So I'd say this is a cultural place of fascination. So if that's the part you're ready for in life, then go for it. I had an extraordinary time there. Sophia struggled with it.
It's just not very... it's not exactly nice, is it? Do you know what I mean?
We can do a full talk about Rome, and I think we're going to be on the opposite of that, because I think you enjoyed Rome more than I did. So for me, I think for Rome I didn't really enjoy, but I'm looking forward to trying more Italian cities. I think I'm going to love Naples. I think I'm going to love it. Now, there's nothing against Rome itself. It's just you can't really get to the sites because they're so touted. You can't. It's very hard to operate about, and I feel the city isn't that clean. There's sort of
I kind of prefer that though. I don't know.
There's like the smog and there's rubbish everywhere, and I just found it very, very aggressive now.
I don't know.
But
I liked it.
But then there was beautiful moments like having. We can talk about this next there was some really cool moments like eating outside that church and stuff, and
that was good.
going to that church, the Catholic church, was really really cool. We could light a candle, all that sort of stuff I like, because when you go to like the Colosseum you can't actually get near it. I'm not somebody who actually likes going into things because like, I've never gone up the Eiffel Tower. Like, I don't need to go to the Eiffel Tower.
No.
I don't need to go inside the Colosseum, but I would love to walk around it properly, but you can't. No. So you can't actually see any of the and you can't, like, you could be walking down that strip from the Colosseum to sort of like into the city, and you're just getting hassled. And even if you're walking down by streets, you're getting hassled because there's so much hassle, and I find it quite aggressive there. Like I don't think it's a pleasant sort of haggling hassle. I find it quite aggressive, and then I feel like the Italian culture is struggling a little bit there. Like how some cities keep up with identity. Identity. I feel like the Italian culture is struggling a little bit there.
Maybe.
I mean, it's hard to find Italians there.
Yeah, maybe you need to go elsewhere to get them.
That's what I'm saying. And then I just feel like the city is just having a lot of problems with congestion and just the rubbish building up. Like none of the bins have been emptied, and I guess it was one of those places where I was a little let down. It wasn't what I was expecting. So I guess maybe I went in with too high an expectation.
Maybe.
We can talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on any parting thoughts in Berlin?
Just like, it's not like I'm saying don't go there. I think it's important to go, but just mentally prepare yourself for what
so you're saying
it's
not a destination to go. Oh no, we went at the same time as some of your friends went, and they go for purposes of leisure, don't they?
Yeah, but I don't even know where they found that because.
Well, then is it because we're more tuned into the idea of, like, do you think some people just go and ignore the culture?
I don't know how you can. It's right in your face. Do you know what I mean? It's like even the Berlin Wall. Like I went out there thinking like, oh, like it was going to be interesting, like from an art perspective. But actually,
but it is.
No, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, fuck, like,
yeah,
this shit's depressing as fuck.
But it's also interesting from an art perspective.
Yeah, but the depressing aspect overruled it. For
do
me,
you think this is just your own sentimentality, your own like?
But it's like, how can you brush it? Like you can't brush it away because there's suffering that people have experienced.
But you
it's just like so.
When we went to the Jewish memorial site in the city, I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
With there was made an art design for almost like this represents of like gravestones,
that
was
like
rising.
Very powerful.
And I think that's a really good method to show.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think I only ever got defeated by Saxon House, and really up until then I was just impressed by
their attitude towards it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if the Brits necessarily do sentimentality that well.
No.
I think we struggle with it, and I think there's something really interesting about the way the city covers and the Berlin the graffiti is also fascinating. There's graffiti everywhere. I also find that fascinating. I know there's I was reading a lot of forums where a lot of people that live there, Germans, they have a lot of issue with the graffiti. So
I don't know, maybe I'm just sensitive. I don't know.
But has your views on it changed since you've come back? Because sometimes you can go away and not really quite get somewhere, quite enjoy it, and then you can come back. It's like I don't regret going to Rome. There's moments I really enjoyed it, and I have like really fond memories, which we'll talk about next week. But
like I said, I'm not saying don't go, and I'm not saying I would rather have not gone. But did I enjoy it? No.
But what I'm saying is, has your opinion changed as time's gone on? Because you almost seem to look back on it like it was a chore.
Not like a chore. Like it was fascinating, but there
must have been part of you wanted to go, hence why you wanted to book it, or was it just literally just?
No, I thought I was going for like a cultural experience. Do you know what I mean? Like
you didn't think it was going. You did.
I didn't think I was going for history.
But then
maybe that was a bit ignorant.
But then did you not think that this is like literally the birthplace of?
No, because I thought they would have swept it all under the carpet, and I was going to basically London of Germany.
Yeah, but London hasn't swept everything under the carpet.
Yeah, but when you walk down the main street in London, it's not like a big blown up picture of like, oh look, this is a family that we murdered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then that's also British mentality. We haven't quite admitted what we've done yet, have we?
No, that's what I mean. We're not that upfront with it, which is commendable. But like it attacks you with it.
I'll finish on this note. What do you think about this? Is the way to actually do travel vlogs, just because obviously people do travel vlogs. What they want to do, they want to document it. They want to prove they've been somewhere, and they want to put their opinion on it. So I feel like we're not doing that. So like I feel like we're just giving our opinion.
Yeah.
So then you can just listen to that if you want, but then we're not. It's not like we're out in the streets annoying people vlogging, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, because that shit's obnoxious, isn't it?
I feel like you have to do one or the other if you want to be a vlog. I feel like you have to. I feel like these channels the video is on themselves are going to age badly. I feel like you have to do one or the other. Yeah, go out with your camera and say nothing and just video the streets. But then you also have to, I think you have to, there is some point where you have to be respectful.
Yeah.
And then I think there's the other side where if you want to talk about it, you actually write a book or you talk about it.
Go in depth about it.
Yeah, I think you have to separate the two. That's why I have a big problem with vlogs, because
it's like, oh, look at me, this is where I've been.
But it's also you're putting yourself at risk of being quite arrogant or ignorant, because you have to really. I mean, we could argue we're doing that now because we're just speaking from our mind, but obviously we could say that we're not researching. We haven't researched,
No.
But I feel this. When people go and I think they don't age very well because what they're doing is a bit silly. Yeah. Because they're like, oh, this doesn't work, and some of the comments were like, oh, it's because of this. It's a cultural reason.
I just don't feel how you can go to Berlin and do anything lighthearted. Do you know what I mean? Because there's such a heaviness on the place.
No, I'm just talking about how
Yeah, I know.
what's the best places.
But I'm saying, like, could anyone go to Berlin and do a vlog like that?
Yeah.
I don't see how you can do that.
But the vlogs are most attractive now. People do vlogs of places that you can't really get to.
Yeah, that's true.
But then, yeah, there is this sort of exposing the culture that I have a bit of a problem with. That's all I'm sort of getting at. All right, let's end this. Thanks for listening, guys. This
That's
is
right.
Being Berlin. We'll talk about Rome. We can even talk about Corfu next. We can talk about Gran Canaria as well.
All places we've been, love.
All right, guys. Ciao.
Goodbye.
Ciao. Bye.